Can you imagine driving down the highway and seeing a billboard saying, "Win great prizes, hit the lottery"? However, the only problem is you have to suffer significant, horrible injuries. Could you imagine that? Win the lottery, win great money, win millions and millions of dollars, but you have to suffer terrible, terrible injuries. You want to know what this is all about? Come join me as I walk along the beach as I share with you the answers to those questions. Hi, I'm Gerry Oginski, a New York medical malpractice and personal injury attorney. So many people think that when you go ahead and receive compensation, full and fair compensation for all of the harms and losses and damages you suffered as a result of someone's carelessness, they think that you win the lottery. They think that you are in it just for the money. They think that the only reason you have brought a lawsuit is to try and get the grand prize of winning the lottery, of winning millions and millions of dollars. Well, I'm going to share with you right now that that is absolutely not the case. I've been in practice now almost 36 years and will tell you that I have never met a single injured client, a single injured patient who comes to me and has money in their mind, who says, listen, I want to get the $1 million prize. I want to get the biggest lottery ticket I can get so that I know I can get the most amount of money possible. And to do that, I don't care if I have to suffer permanent injury. I don't care if I have to be disabled for the rest of my life. I don't care if I can never work again. As long as I get that big, big prize in the sky, yes, that's what I want. The reality is no, that's not what any of them want. Not a single one of those injured patients, not a single one of those injured clients ever turn around and say, money is my motivating factor. Not a single one. You know what they want instead? They want their health back. They want to be able to go back to their normal lives. They want to go back to how things were before. They want to go back to being healthy. They want to be able to interact with their family, go to work each day, and do their daily activities without limitations. That's what they want. They don't want to have to sit in the hospital for another 3 weeks. They don't want to have to go through rehabilitation. They don't want to have to go through additional surgeries and lifelong medical care. They don't want any of that. If they could turn back the hands of time, I guarantee you every single one of these injured patients would gladly do so. Nobody walks down the street and says, hey, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and hit the jackpot by falling and injuring and destroying my limbs, destroying my body, suffering a major head injury. I am be totally destroyed and unable to care for myself. That's what I want. That's a sarcastic response. In reality, nobody would ever choose that. You know, I've heard great attorneys during closing arguments use this type of story to showcase to the jury why the money is not the motivating factor. So here they are, they say, look, you have to decide, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you have to decide what the value of my client's injuries are. Now imagine you woke up one day and you see a wanted ad, and the wanted ad said free $1 million. And all you have to do is show up at this store. That's it. Just show up at this store and you get $1 million for free, no strings attached. So now, what do you think will happen? Millions of people are going to show up at that front door to get their free $1 million. Let's add a couple of conditions to that. What if instead, now you turn around in that ad and it says, hey, show up here at 10 a.m. for $1 million, but in order to get that $1 million, you have to have been injured by a careless doctor. Do you think anybody would show up? The answer is yes. I guarantee you a lot of people would still show up. They may not care that they've been injured by a careless doctor because the money is the motivating factor here. Okay, but now what happens if we say, you know what? Before you can collect that $1 million, you not only have to be injured by a careless doctor, but those injuries will now require that you undergo additional surgery. How many people do you think would still show up at that door? I guarantee you there would be a good number of people still showing up at that door just because they want that $1 million, regardless of what it's going to mean for their short-term health. Okay, so now let's add another condition. Let's say you now have to be injured by a careless doctor, you have to suffer significant harm and injury, and now those injuries are going to make you disabled for life, and you will no longer be able to work and provide for your family. How many people do you think would still show up at that front door asking for that $1 million, accepting the fact that they now had to undergo those conditions? I think personally that there would be people still doing that. And what happens if you add more conditions and say you have to go through rehab for months and months, and then you have to have lifelong medical care, and now you have to pay out of pocket hundreds of thousands of dollars. How many people do you think would still show up at that front door saying, free $1 million? I personally think that there might be one or two, or maybe even a handful of people who would still do that, desperate for that money. When I asked you at the very beginning of this case, how many people do you think would show up? How many people do you think are motivated by that money, hitting the jackpot, hitting that lottery? Not a single one. Because no one wants to give up their health, at least that I know. Nobody wants to go ahead and give up their livelihood. Nobody wants to go ahead and give up their ability to interact with their families and do their wonderful daily activities that they do every single day. Not a single person. Because the money is not worth it. But yet, when an injured patient is forced to go to trial because the defense refuses to go ahead and settle this case, now what happens? 6 members of the community have spoken and determined that the doctor was careless and that his carelessness caused significant harm and injury. And now they feel that in order to compensate this patient, this doctor owes a debt to this patient in the sum of millions of dollars for the various claims of damages he is making. And now so many people turn that around and say, wait a second, he just hit the jackpot. He just hit the lottery. No, he didn't hit anything. Getting injured is not hitting the lottery. Getting injured and severely disabled is not hitting the jackpot. Do you think that just because a jury has determined that this patient is entitled to receive millions of dollars, that means he's hit the jackpot? Do you think he's truly going to be able to use that money the way he did before he suffered all these horrible injuries? The reality is no, he's not going to. So why do I share this information with you? Hopefully this will open your eyes and help you realize that somebody who seeks justice, who seeks compensation for all the harms and losses and damages they've incurred because of someone else's carelessness, is not there to hit the jackpot. They want to be compensated. They want to go back to the way they were. And just because they've been forced to go to trial and a jury gives them a substantial verdict, does not mean by any means that they've now hit the jackpot. You know, I realize you're likely watching this because you have questions or concerns about your own matter. Well, if your matter did happen in New York and are thinking about bringing a lawsuit but haven't done so yet because you still have questions that need to be answered, what I invite you to do is pick up the phone and call me. You know I answer questions like yours every single day, and I'd love to chat with you. You can reach me at 516-487-8207 or by email at Gerry, Gerry, at Oginski-law.com. That's it for today's video. I'm Gerry Oginski. Have a wonderful day.